at the apartment complex was basically a free apartment. She would have to pay something, but basically a free apartment. So she wasn't able to get the free apartment. She didn't get that, that salary that she was going to get at all. Now, so that was very bad for her. Three really, really unfortunate things. One, they rescinded that offer. All right, I already guys told you that. Two, she ended up with no place to stay. So why is that? Why she didn't have a place to stay? Because when she was told that she was getting this job, no, she told the place that she was currently renting that she would be leaving that place. So they went ahead and they rented her place already. So now she has no place to stay. So the first thing that was unfortunate, she didn't have a job anymore because she already put in her notice at the other job, at her last job. Then secondly, now she has no place to stay. And thirdly, because of her credit and her credit scores, she couldn't get approved for an apartment anywhere else. So I don't want any of that kind of stuff to happen to anybody. But these are the kinds of things that credit can impact you in a negative way when it comes to you trying to navigate this world without credit, without dealing with your credit situation. You need to go ahead and start dealing with your credit situation. So unfortunately for this lady, she had to move in with her mother. I don't know how old she was. I don't know how old she was at all, but she had to move back in with her mom until she got on her feet, got her new job, and all of those things. So those are the kinds of situations that you can avoid. You can avoid all that stress and all that strain if you can go ahead and take care of your credit. All right, so all of this occurred just because you had bad credit. And the fact of the matter is that you don't have to go through this. You don't have to go through this at all. I know your situation may seem bleak. I know that it may seem daunting, but all is not lost. So what you are going to do, what are you going to do besides listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show? You've got to take some action. I say all the time, that knowledge is power, but if you don't apply the knowledge that you have, then you're just wasting it. So you've got to take some action. The first thing you're going to do is you got to pull your credit report. You just got to pull your credit report. A third of the people have never pulled their credit report. You've got to pull your credit report and take a look at it. You can find it free at www.annualcreditreport.com. You can find it free there, or you can sign up to one of these services like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame or Credit.com, and you can get your credit report for free. So make sure you get your credit report and you take a look at it. Then you want to take the knowledge. You want to take this knowledge that you've gained by listening to the show and apply it to at least one negative item on your credit report. So since the inception, since the show began, which was actually 2 years ago, the show began. So the 2-year anniversary show will be at the end of next month. So yeah, I got the 2-year anniversary coming. So since the inception of the show, I've gotten a ton of tips. It's been, I think this is show like number 78 or something like that. So there's a ton of tips in there. Go back, listen to some of the shows, look at the description that I wrote about the shows, see if it might apply to you, and listen to the show, especially if you are a new listener to the show. Now, I've told you what impacts your score the most, so you know like where to go so you can gain those points, how to tackle issues, and all kinds of things. So you got to start somewhere. They say, how do you eat an elephant? You start with the first bite, one bite at a time, or a journey starts with just one step. So you've got to do that, and you've got to be strategic about these things. So look at your situation strategically. Look at what is going to impact your score the most, and that's where you want to start. Start right there. For some of you, it's going to be getting rid of collections. You might need to get rid of collections. If you've heard me, listen to me at all, I want you to start with medical collections because that's going to affect your score the most if you start with medical collections, if you have them. So you want to get rid of those. For others, it's going to be things simply by starting paying on time. If you're chronically paying late on your credit report, you need to start paying on time. You start paying on time, that's going to help take care of some things for you as well. Others, it may be lowering your credit card balances. That debt utilization we talked about is the second largest factor that impacts your credit score. So if you can start doing some of those things, it's going to help you. Now, listen, if it's too overwhelming for you, you're too busy, put me to work for you. Put me to work, get on my calendar, and let's have a conversation. I don't want this to happen to anybody. This young lady's story is a tragedy as far as I'm concerned. So email me. Email me for an appointment. New email address, 800 at creditscoreman.com. That's 800 at creditscoreman.com. 800 at creditscoreman.com. Email me and get on my list. All right, get on my calendar so we can talk and we can help you out of your credit situation. All right, so let's talk again. Let me do this. Let me do a couple more shout outs right quick, and then we'll get to let's jump to the question of the day because we're already 20 minutes in. So let's jump to the question of the day. So like I said, question of the day is from Brandon out of Illinois, that longtime listener. I don't know how many times he's been on the show. I can't even welcome him to the show anymore. He's been on the show so many times. So it's from Brandon. Of course, it's sponsored by Cute as a Cupcake, the cupcakery and bake shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute. They're delicious. So get by Cute as a Cupcake at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Let them know that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so this question from Brandon, he actually is asking for someone else. So Brandon's niece is actually going to college in the fall, so she's graduating high school. Congratulations, Janelle. Congratulations. And she's going to college in the fall. And he wants to know what are the top 2 or 3 things that a college freshman can do to start establishing a strong credit foundation. Then he threw the caveat in there on me of without getting a credit card. Everybody's scared of getting a credit card and just going haywire with it, especially if you're new to credit and you're new being away from home and whatnot. So he wanted to know that, and then he has another question. Now I'll get to the other question as well. So here's my exchange with Brandon. So here's what I told him. A credit card is the best way to do it. There are other options that she can take. There are definitely other options, but pretty much all of them require getting some debt, obtaining some debt somewhere. I mean, you can't have a credit history if you never borrowed anything. You can't give something back. So all the other ones require that. And the easiest thing to do is to get a credit card. Doesn't matter if it's from a store or if it's from, a regular credit card. That's a Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express even. Those are really what the first thing that she should do, but you want to avoid the credit cards. So if you're going to avoid the credit cards, maybe she's getting student loans. So if she's getting student loans, then that'll show up on her credit report, even though they're in, what do they call it? Not if it's in forbearance or deferment, whatever it is, even though it's in there, they'll start showing up on her credit report. And so at least she'll start to establish something on her credit report at all that should start to give her a score. Now, the second thing is to actually become an authorized user. And I'm saying become an authorized user on Uncle Brandon's credit card. So Uncle Brandon has a credit card. That credit card has balance is less than 30% of whatever the limit is. That's going to be good for her. Uncle Brandon has had this credit card for a long time, like 7 years or so. That's going to be good for her. Even though she may not become an authorized user until June of this year, but she still will get the full benefit of having however long Uncle Brandon has had this particular credit card, and it's got to have 100% on-time payments. If you got that and she becomes an authorized user, it's absolutely going to help her with her credit. And Uncle Brandon does not have to give her the card. So you can go ahead and get her and make her authorized user. Keep the card yourself. She's away at school in a different state, in a different city or whatever it is. You're going to be perfectly fine. You're not going to have to worry about her using that card up. Now, what you can do if she becomes an authorized user and you have a card, you can set up alerts. So anytime that card is used, anytime, whether you use it or somebody that's an authorized user uses that card, you can get a text message, you can get an email that says, hey, this card is being used right now. You have the option to approve or decline that particular transaction. So that might be something that you want to look into for your niece. You can do that. And so those are the things that I told him that he could do with her to help her establish some credit, even though she's going away to school without getting a credit card herself. So that's what I want you to do for your niece, Brandon. Now, his next question was, can she pull a credit report on herself even if she has no credit history? Yes, absolutely. She can pull a credit report on herself. If there's nothing on there, it'll just be nothing on there. So she'll put in the same things that everybody else does. She'll put in their social, her birthday, her full name, all of those things, and she'll pull a credit report and she can see it. And I told him it's a good idea for her to do that. It's a very good idea for her to check her credit report because you never know. Maybe she has been she's had some identity theft and you just don't know it because nobody has contacted her at all. They used a different address because she was brand new. It's a possibility out there. So it's a good idea for her to go ahead and pull her credit report as well. So that's what I had for Brandon. Thank you so much, Brandon, for participating in the show yet again. Brandon from Illinois, I really appreciate it. You know you are already part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. All right, so I think I got a couple more shout outs and then I'm going to give you some don'ts to do. All right, so let me shout out Taria Flowers. She celebrated her birthday. She would have been on last week's show if I would have been here. So happy birthday to you, Taria. Ruben Flores, I call him Mr. IU. He celebrated her birthday last week as well. So happy birthday to you, Ruben. Deborah Holland celebrated her birthday. So happy birthday, Deborah. And Tim Moss, he celebrated their birthday as well. So happy birthday to you, Tim Moss. All right, so let me give you these so we can get up off of here. So here's what I want to tell you about some things not to do. So, and it's really specific to why you're trying to get a mortgage. So while you're trying to get a mortgage and your mortgage loan is pending, now this could take months. Sometimes it's really short. You know, you might get closed in 30 days, 35 days, 40 days. Sometimes it takes months. Could take 4 months, could take 5 months, could take 6 months for you to close on your mortgage, depending on your situation. So in that time, there are some things that you absolutely shouldn't do. So if you're going to be applying for a mortgage, you already applied for it, do not apply for credit anywhere else. Do not do that, because if you apply for credit anywhere else, they pull a credit report on you at the beginning of your process. If it takes a long time, they may pull another one in the middle of your process of this loan, and then they might even pull another one before you actually close, depending on how long it is. So you don't want to apply for credit anywhere else. Why? You know why? Because the inquiry is going to show up. That's one thing, which lowers your credit score. That's going to show up, and then if you actually get something else, it's going to or it could impact your debt to income ratio. So you don't want to apply for credit anywhere else. And yes, that means stay away from your favorite electronics store looking for the new big screen TV. Don't apply for any place so you can get new appliances when you move in. No new cars, nothing at all. You're just going to muddy the waters when it comes to your credit report and getting your mortgage approved. Just don't do any new credit at all when it comes to that. Along with that, you should also note that cell phone companies and cable companies, they also pull a credit report on you. So if they're going to pull a credit report on you and it's going to lower your credit score by, let's say, 10 points, that could really impact what your interest rate is going to be. A mortgage is the biggest purchase that most of us will ever make in our life, and you don't want a higher interest rate than you have to. So that 10 points could be critical and crucial. So if you can stand it, don't switch services during this time at all. So you don't want to switch services for your cell phone. You don't want to switch services for your cable company either. Let those things wait until you get into the new house. Here's another don't. I don't care if you have been saving your down payment in a rusty pipe in your basement. Do not put the money in your account in one lump sum. It looks extremely suspicious to the banks, the mortgage companies, and the underwriters. So if you've got cash laying around, and here's a suggestion, you got cash laying around, one, put that money in your account no less than 3 months. 3 months before you apply for your mortgage. So most of the times when you go in and you apply for a mortgage, what they do is say, send us 2 months worth of statements. So you got to go back 2 months and you got to send them 2 months worth of your bank statements. They want to look and see how much money you've had in there. They want to see what your deposits are. If you've been saving your money in these particular accounts, they want to see